We've just witnessed the birth of the next big isekai, and if it doesn't get big, we just witnessed the birth of one of the greatest isekais that will come out in quite some time. So I'm a Spider, So What has been a very anticipated show for me. And Crunchyroll, I think it was about last week, they released like half of the episode, which I believe they just kind of took pieces of the episode and made a 10-minute portion. And I watched about the first 5 or so minutes because I didn't want to watch the full thing because I had an assumption that I was going to want to watch the whole thing, so I didn't want to spoil myself. And based on the first 5 minutes, it had me laughing a lot, so I was like, this is going to be a funny show. And finally watching the full first episode, I can safely say this show, it hit everything that I wanted it to be. And I really feel like this has the potential to be something truly big and extraordinary, and the fact that it's going to be a 2-core, I really have high hopes for this. I think a lot of people are going to make comparisons, and you can even point to my own title, because yeah, it's going to be compared to that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Instead of being reincarnated as a slime and starting out in a cave, you're reincarnated as a spider. But the big difference with this series is that it's not going to be in the same format as like, oh, you quickly get out of that cave. Someone like this girl is reincarnated as a spider and has no real good abilities at the moment. The stuff she's been gaining is very slow in comparison to someone like Rimuru from that time I got reincarnated as a slime. All her skill points were put into an appraisal skill that literally will just say the obvious. Oh, this is a rock. I think the appraisal will turn it into something like gold. It's a rock, it's a wall, these are dangerous monsters. She has no real help, and a lot of the tropes that I think things that will be compared in this show to obviously the biggest show that has a sequel this season, or one of them, which is the Slime Isekai, are tropes that it didn't invent. Like the idea of like an intelligent voice in your head that gives you these ideas, or spending skill points and, you know, building up these different abilities. That wasn't something that was invented by Slime. Like, these are tropes that Slime used and became its own series. So I don't think people should look at this simply as a Slime ripoff, because it's not. Just because, and it doesn't matter which one came before, whatever. It's just whatever's popular it will get compared to. While Slime is an amazing show, Spider is going to be an amazing show in its own equal way. What separates this one, I think, almost immediately as being something vastly different, is it gave me the same impression as something like Konosuba did during its first episode. It made me laugh so much at the absurdity while also understanding the horror of the situation, knowing that you're kinda shit out of luck. A girl who, in entire class, by the way, gets reincarnated into this world, and you knew there was going to be humans and other creatures and things like that that probably weren't going to be in as shitty of a situation as her unless they all were reborn as spiders, which would be a little boring if I'm being completely honest, and luckily they didn't go that route. The idea of having her immediately wake up, not knowing what's going on, and then seeing a bunch of spiders, well, you're not going to be naturally scared if you're also a spider. But then just the simple idea of jokes of watching spiders feed on each other, and the "oh Jesus" line, which is completely hilarious when she's just trying to run away. Oh, are you the father? Oh shit, the father's trying to kill me, you must be the mother. It's hilarious to see just how blunt and to the point the jokes are in this, but because this is a girl who used to be a normal shut-in otaku, you've seen the trope done before, but honestly I think this is the first time I can remember since Recovery of an MMO Junkie that I've seen a female otaku lead. It's generally the male lead, so it's kind of refreshing in that sense. But the idea of her just trying to survive in this cave and knowing that it's going to last a while, that she is going to be chilling in this cave for so long as the rest of her classmates are pretty much royalty, and even if they are a pet of someone else, at least they're the pet of someone who's royal. I think it had such a fun bounce to it that it really did nail what it needed to do. It set up the idea that there probably is going to be an actual story on the human counterpart side with the whole royalty, and there's, you know, it's just a general feast, but you can tell there's going to be some sort of story in that department that maybe even our spider girl is going to get roped into, or maybe not. But the idea of having it just be this horrifyingly hilarious adventure as then you transition to this beautiful feast and everyone got reincarnated as a human for the most part, even if they got gender bent here and there. And then you go back to seeing our girl feeding on a poisonous frog and she's like, I have to survive, this is what I need to do. This shit had me rolling, and honestly, it's the first time since Konosuba that I've laughed this much in terms of a comedy sort of isekai. And even if it does get horrifying later on, I mean, technically you could even argue this was a horrifying episode, it has room to really be something that's distinct and unique. This is a show that I truly feel like a lot of people are going to love. And I thought, walking into this episode, I was wondering if people would be put off by the 3D. And I didn't really look at opinions before recording this review. But based on what I saw, I would be shocked if a majority said that they hated the 3D in this episode or they wished it was 2D. Because personally for me, the way the camera spins around and how fast it is, I mean, this girl is running around left and right, she's bouncing, she's changing. I really feel like this had to be a 3D production. It really feels similar to that I would compare to Beastars in the sense that when you watch a show like Beastars, you think the way the characters move, like they need to be 3D for that kind of like energy and the emotion that they convey. This is a show about a girl who's very bubbly or energetic or completely frightful, and I think the 3D really adds to it. I mean, there was only a couple of small moments I was like, oh, you know, the big giant spider trying to consume our girl. Yeah, that wasn't the best thing ever, but the idea of spinning the camera so much and always keeping it bouncy, and the fact that we were in a cave for most of the episode, I really feel like the spider animation, I really personally enjoy a lot, and I honestly really like it. Obviously, there will be different opinions for sure, but for me personally, I really think the 3D adds a lot to it and doesn't distract me in the slightest. It adds to the comedy, and honestly, I don't think it would be nearly as funny if we would have the transitions around if it was 2D, at least that's just my personal opinion. But I have to say, this was a fantastic first episode that got you immediately hooked on the world. While yeah, you see these tropes and gimmicks that are in every other isekai out there, the idea of how they used it in this episode was such a comedic feat that it doesn't feel like, oh, we're rehashing things that have came before. It really does feel like, so I'm a spider, so what? And I wouldn't have it any other way. Not to mention, both the opening and ending songs are fantastic. The ending song caught me off guard the most. I mean, when I first heard the opening, I was like, this is incredible. It's energetic. It has really creative directing. I mean, the way they were kind of overlaying text and things like that. It just wasn't a traditionally animated opening. It just felt very different, and the song was killer. So I was expecting, oh, the ending will be pretty good as well. The ending is fantastic. It is more energetic than the actual episode, and it just builds up this momentum to the point that I'm like, how the hell are you even singing this? The amount of quality that this episode has me grinning ear to ear. I can already feel that if this show can be this good for 24 episodes, I might put it in one of my favorite isekais, like in the top 5. I really feel like it could go there. Obviously, I'm not going to say that until we reach the end. This gave me such an impression similar to that time I got reincarnated as a slime, as well as Konosuba, both having like, it's like basically a mixture of that. Take the hilariousness of Konosuba with the starting point of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, and that's what you're left with. It's hilarious. And I really think the beautiful directing of having it be mostly horrifying cave to then beautiful feast back to horrifying cave, it really does show you that she was shit out of luck when she got reincarnated. I'm really excited to see where the actual story is going to go and the hilarious antics that will follow. For the most part, the only real voice actor we got introduced to is of course the lead character. We did get to see the human counterpart side, but none of their scenes really, besides the one guy who was mocking the other classmates, really had a chance to really flex their vocal performance, but his kind of mockery, it did leave me rolling. I think he's going to be a really fun character. But our lead character, there's certain characters that you feel like are perfectly casted and they'll never be able to be mirrored in a dub or anything like that. This girl is flawless, from her energetic kind of like, oh my god, I'm a spider, I can do this, shattering realization that she is so screwed. This performance is phenomenal, and the idea that this hilariously energetic performance is coming from this simple spider, it makes it all the better. This is a really beautiful production through and through, and I don't know, like, for as good as this season's gonna be, I could easily see this being one of, if not the most anticipated episode for me going forward in the coming episodes, but I guess time will tell. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think? Did you like the production? Do you prefer it in the 3D, or would you have rather seen it hand-drawn? Whatever you feel, let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, of course, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you're happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.